Okay, so part 2 of the tool coordinates. What I want you to do for your lab is I want you to set up whatever these are called, a clipboard. My mind just completely went blank. I want you to set it up on 2 blocks or get it at an angle and then get it so that it's not lined up perfectly with the robot. Okay? So for this lab, you need to bring some markers, Sharpies, and some paper. And what I want you to do is I want you to put that robot into tool coordinates with it lined up with the clipboard, and I want you to make as many squares on that clipboard as you can. Actually, I don't like that. What I want you to do is make 4 squares, but program it to run. Okay? So you'll use tool coordinates to make it so that the squares are easy to make. And then you're going to program 4 separate squares that are not connected on the piece of paper that you put on the clipboard. Now you don't want to stack up a bunch of paper because then the robot won't know that it's thicker and it's going to break your pen. But expect that you probably will go through 1 or 2 markers. Alright? So, let's pretend like I've got a clipboard here. Alright? I will go in. Now, I can't program anything. Like, I've got a home point here. I can't program anything on the right-hand side. I have to be on the left-hand side of here. I'm going to go home. So to go home, you hit robot, work home position, and then you hold forward to go home. Now on mine, it looks like the suction cup is in work home, so I'm going to go to second home position. Both of them look the same. So whichever one where the gripper is pointing down, I'll have to reprogram this so that the gripper pointing down is my work home position. Since I don't have that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it into joint coordinates. I'm going to do my bend down. Alright, so get it to work home. Then you're going to make a job. You'll hit job, create new job. You'll hit select so that we can put in a name. Put your last name in. And whatever module this happens to be in. This year it's in module 4. It could be something else. Click enter. And then click execute. Now we've got our no op and our end. My robot should be at home. Turn on your servos, so I'll have to turn on servos. I'll hold my deadband switch and I'll push enter. Okay. Then what I'll do is I will move. Alright, I'm still in joint coordinates. So what I'm going to do, if I screw up, I can forward back to a point, any point that I want. So I'll forward back home. I'm going to change my coordinate system to world coordinates to get around the box easy. I'm going to move. Say I'm too fast, so I'm going to move in my Y. I'm going to move down in my Z. We'll move out my X. And then I'm going to, while I'm still in world and joint, let me move this robot just a little bit. While I'm still in world or joint, I'm going to manipulate my robot so that it lines up parallel and perpendicular to that clipboard. All right, so I'm going to go down a little bit. I might go into joint so that I can rotate about my S axis so that I line up better with the clipboard without it being off to the side, right? That's a good thing. I'll go back into world and I might start to rotate about things so that I can get it lined up. So, say we got that clipboard. I'm going to go down a little bit. And then I'm going to line it up so that my X axis is on the slope and my Y axis is lined up to whatever angle I have it in the box. So, like if I rotate about X, I'm moving X. Or I'm not moving X. I want to rotate about Y so I can get X lined up. All right, so notice that now I wish it would scoot without me having to go back up here and click it. Notice that as I rotate about Y, that changes my X axis, right? So I'll rotate about Y to line it up with the slope. And then I'll rotate about X and Z to line it up so that it's lined up with how the board is. So that I can do, like, if I rotate about Z, now I can twist where Y is. So I'm going straight across that board. Okay? And then I can put it into tool coordinates and it should track what's going on with that board naturally. So I want your squares to be, I don't want them to be cattywampus. I want them to be parallel and perpendicular or parallel to the edges of that board. Okay? So let's say 4 or 5 and I don't want them connected. So you have to remember to put your intermediate points when you lift up the pen. All right, so I've got my home position. Then I go down and I got everything lined up with the robot. And when I do Z plus, it's going to go down into the workpiece. I'll get right above where the pen's not touching. And then I'm going to put another point. Okay? Now that point is going to be super slow. I want to speed it up, so I'm going to scroll over there to the edit part of the window. I'll push select, and then I'll scroll over to what I want to edit. I'll push select again. Let's take this up to maybe 10. Then I'll push enter. It double checks that I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. I push enter again. It puts it back up in my edit. Then I scroll back to the numbers so that I can keep programming. Now, I'll move down into my workpiece to start a dot. I'll hit enter. All right, since I sped it up that time, it kept it at that same speed. That's cool. So that's my first dot. Then I'll move along, and if I got my tool set up right, it should just make a line. Then I'll push enter. Then I might go up in X. Make the box. I'll push enter. Now I'll go across in Y. Make the third line of the box. I'll push enter. Then I'll go back in X until I hit that first point. I'll push enter. Now, I'll want to come up off my work piece, so I'll zoom up or zoom negative. But if you forget to make this point, you could get off that point and then move, and then it's going to actually draw a line from where you were to where you start again, unless you put this intermediate point so the robot remembers that you moved up off the paper. And then I'll move this robot to another place on the paper. I'll make another intermediate point, and then I'll go down into the paper to make a dot, and then I'll repeat it. Okay? Now let's imagine that I messed up and I had a point that I didn't want in there. So I'm going to show you I can drive to different points. Like what you'll have to do is you'll scroll up to a point and then you'll hold forward and it'll move it to that. Okay? And then if that's a point that you don't want, you can delete and then enter and it'll delete that point. You can't delete that point until you move there, because if you notice, all of these have the same words. So there's no way of really knowing that you're on the point that you want unless you see it. So they force you to forward to that point, so you make sure that it's the point that you want to delete. Okay? Alright. So if I want to delete that point, I'll hit delete and then enter. If I just want to modify that point, forward to that point so you know where you're at. And then you can move a little bit, move wherever you want it to be. Make sure that you're still on that point that you wanted to modify. And then you can hit modify and enter. And now if I move to that point, it'll be the new point. Okay? So, doing up some boxes, bring some paper and some markers. I recommend the Sharpies. You can use interlock period and 2 and get somebody to help you to get the gripper to get the marker in it, and then have fun. And then be thinking about something that you actually want to draw next time instead of boxes, and we'll draw something complicated. Bye.